What up, word? Your boy Sporty Black checking in again. I had did a video and I was talking about the little YSL situation. It was different, opinions on it and everything like that right there. And I understand, I guess people, got their opinions on everything, what's going on with the RICO case, whether or not, Gunna snitched or he didn't snitch and things of that nature. Well, this video is to kind of give you guys a little more clarity as to how plea deals work, especially when you're dealing with multiple co-defendants, right? So in this case, the big fish that the state of Georgia is trying to convict is Jeffrey Williams, aka Young Thug. They trying to say he is the leader of a gang, criminal street gang, YSL. And they trying to charge him with racketeering in corrupt organization, RICO, right? Now, we all is up to speed as to Gunna has took a plea, as well as YSL Duke, Slime Light Shouted, Oomp Foomp, and about, 7 or 8 guys in total. Now, initially, when the state of Georgia arrested these guys, I think they arrested about 25 people, right? So therein lies the big problem from Young Thug. Now, it was one clip when the judge was talking to 2 of the YSL affiliates that actually, stood on business, quote unquote, and refused to take the plea. And they were like, man, we ain't taking no plea. We gonna go ahead and go to trial. So that judge, was, basically going in depth, telling them, what kind of legal ramification they're facing if they choose to take this thing to trial, But them boys decided to go to trial, right? And for everybody out there who's saying Young Thug gave Gunna and all the other guys his blessing to take these pleas, they can't know nothing about the law, because I don't believe that Young Thug gave these guys his blessing to take a plea. See, most of the time when you get charged with multiple defendants, especially on the RICO case, now a Fed RICO case and a state RICO case, they kind of similar, but they got certain differences. But when you take a plea, you is admitting guilt to certain things. That's why when Gunna was taking his plea, the judge was, going down a list of things that Gunna had to do an admission of guilt too, right? Now, the bad part about that is if and when Young Thug goes to trial, they're going to use a lot of that stuff against him, right? Now, Gunna does not have to testify against Young Thug, but it's 1 or 2 of those guys who took a plea, and part of the condition of that plea is they have to come to court and become a state witness, which the term is turning state. They're going to turn state on Young Thug. Like one guy in particular, he got 30 years plea for probation, a 30-year probation plea. But if he gets on the stand and becomes a state witness and testifies against Young Thug, then it drops down to 15 years. So therein lies the problem. Because once all these guys, they taking all these pleas, they do all these different admissions of guilt. So now the DA and the prosecution, they're gonna basically try to, persuade the 12 jurors that, okay, all of these guys here, let's say it end up being 12 people take a plea. All 12 of these guys admitting that YSL is a gang, YSL committed these crimes, YSL committed this murder. Young Thug gave these guys hush money. The McDonald's on Cleveland Avenue is the meetup spot where they was talking about everything. This gas station over here off of Cleveland is where they sell drugs at. So they got all of these different admissions of guilt that is, coinciding with the state's case from a totality standpoint. You know, everything what they trying to convict this man on, all these guys admitting to that. So once they admit to that, Young Thug is going to be presumed guilty by the jury, right? So therein lies the problem. So, you know, I seen one thing on there where Young Thug dad was telling him if they offer Young Thug a plea, he should not take the plea. Me, I disagree. I feel like in this situation, Thug, if they offer him a plea, he need to go ahead and take it. Matter of fact, his lawyer need to be trying to negotiate the best plea deal that's possible for Young Thug, because I don't really see no way that he's going to beat this RICO case, especially with all these guys, you know, snitching and turning state and, you know, just every man, you know, for themselves, essentially. Because that's the thing about it. When you got them many co-defendants, of course, everybody go have their own representation. So as a lawyer, your main focus is to get your client the best deal or the best situation that fits your client. And if that is taking a plea and admitting, you know, guilt for some of the charges, that's what they're going to do. So if I'm Young Thug lawyer, that's what I'm pushing for. I'm just telling them, hey, man, it ain't looking good. Now, if you get convicted of these charges, you facing at least 30 years, minimum, 30 to life. You know, if you get 20, you're lucky. Because that's how the state of Georgia operate, man. They really, you know, they scare people into these pleas because they got it wrote up in their legislation that if you get convicted of certain charges in a trial setting, then they have to give you the max. You know, I don't know if it's like that in every state, but in Georgia, if you get convicted of something, they're going to prosecute you to the maximum extent of the law. So if Young Thug gets convicted of these charges, it's over with. It's finito. You know, so I wouldn't even play with it like that right there. But on the flip side, I'm not even sure if the DA's office or the prosecutor is even offering Young Thug a plea deal. Mainly because they really got him where they want him. With all these guys turning state and taking these pleas and pretty much snitching on the whole operation. You know, now a few years ago, it was this biker gang. It was a bunch of them, maybe like 30 people. And they had gotten a big, huge brawl and multiple people got killed, maybe like 9 people. So they charged all these guys with the RICO. But that biker gang, all of them stayed down. Nobody admitted no guilt, none whatsoever. Then they end up beating the case because everybody stayed down. Nobody didn't tell. Nobody didn't take no plea. Nobody didn't turn state. Everybody just rolled that thing out. And that's what you got to do. If you got everybody on the same accord, you know, doing the same thing, you got a chance of getting off. But once, you know, you got guys, everybody going, you know, for self and start taking pleas, start turning stage, start admitting this and you ain't got no win at that point. It's over with at that point. So Young Thug is at the point where he just got to come to the realization, man, that he's not going to be able to beat this shit. I'm sorry to say it. But if they don't offer him a plea, he ain't got no trouble but to keep fighting. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to update you guys on that, give y'all a little clarity about how some of this stuff work, contextualize some of this stuff, man. And overall, it just ain't looking good, man. It ain't looking good for YSL, man. It's not looking good for Jeffrey Williams, man, a.k.a. Young Thug. But I'm Sporty Black. I'm signing off. We still grinding off. If you're new to the channel, man, hit that sub button, man. I'm out.